Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for spending some time with me today. So I just got off the water and I wanted to kind of share with you my thoughts on what summertime fish do in specific depth ranges, because I think there is this consensus that bass go deep in the summer, and that's very true on most lakes, but there are some lakes where shallow is going to be the best place to fish no matter what time of year. So I wanted to give you a couple scenarios will cause fish to go deep, and I want to give you a couple scenarios that will keep fish shallow even in the hottest months. Because if you show up to a lake, let's say you've never been there before, it's a new fishery, and you just assume that the fish are going to be deep and you go out there and look for them, they might not be out there, and you might spend an entire day wasting your time, and vice versa. You might go to a lake and try to catch them shallow, and every fish in the lake is out deep. So I think it's very important to know a few things about the hotter months that are really going to put you in the right direction. So lakes where you have a lot of current, maybe Mississippi River, the Alabama River, the Coosa River, those lakes that have a lot of current, fish can live dirt shallow the entire year. If there's not good structure for those fish to get on out deep, and you have enough water generated through the system to keep the food coming to the bass, keep the water at a comfortable temperature relative to how hot it is that time of year, fish can live shallow, and they will. If there's nothing for them really to get on out there, they will be dirt shallow. The biggest fish in the lake will be dirt shallow. And if there's current and they're on the, either the front side of a bar or the side of a bar or the back side of the bar in little eddies, those fish can live comfortably, not have to move a lot. Everything that a bass loves about summertime, comfortable food, they can spend months there, then they will. And they don't have to be out in 10 to 15 feet of water to do that. Now, on lakes, natural lakes, where you have a lot of shade, if it's mats, floating vegetation, or docks, if the whole lake is just full of docks, that will keep fish shallow year round. If you have docks that are around shallow water, then deep water and shallow water, those fish can use that contour and just slide out into the deep water when they want to get out in deep water, slide right back up, and never have to leave the dock. So they can live their whole lives right around docks. Doesn't matter what time of year. And the same thing goes for that floating vegetation, mats. If you have a lake that doesn't necessarily get real deep, one of those cereal bowl type lakes, natural lakes, the lakes that you see down in Florida, those fish don't really have anything to get on out there. There might be shell and stuff like that, but there's really no contour change. There's nothing that's really going to drive a big group of fish out there. So those fish like to stay shallow. If they can find that shade, it's going to be cool enough for those fish to get in, and then they'll just stay there, months in June, July, August. They have no problem staying in that floating vegetation. Now, on those type lakes, if they don't, those fish are going to try to move to the deepest cover they can find, but sometimes that's only in 4 or 5 feet of water. So you don't necessarily have to go out into the middle of the lake. You just got to find the deepest grass possible. So those are lakes where fish do not have to go deep. Now, I am going to give you a couple scenarios. Now, let's say you are fishing lakes like that. Fish will get pushed out deep. Now, not saying that they won't come back. They will, they can. As soon as people get out there and start fishing for them, they will move back shallow. But some very important things to know, the obvious one being hotter water. Once that water gets into the 80s, fish get out deep. That's where most of the bait fish has spawned. It has went out to the main lake, and that's where the bass are going. But what you will sometimes see is if there are a lot of pleasure boaters on the water, what I call washing the bank. So big cruisers putting out big wakes, hit the bank, muddy the banks up. That is going to cause more fish. It's going to be like a magnet. And any fish that want to stay shallow, that dirty, muddy water from the big cruiser ships, it's going to suck those fish out towards the main lake. And they're going to start getting on any type of structure that is out away from that dirty water. But, that is what is going to happen. So lakes that don't have current, typically you're going to find fish that want to get out deep. They're going to be on brush piles. And then lakes that do have current and that fish to get out deep, there's going to be some type of structure, some kind of current break for those fish to get on. And that's very important to look in places like that. You know, if you have current, look for that structure that's going to allow those fish to kind of tuck back in or tuck on the front of, and you'll learn how to fish the current. Very important on those lakes. And then lakes that don't have current, but there's just not a whole lot of likable cover, or there's a bunch of fishing pressure shallow, go out and look for brush piles, because that's typically where those fish are going to go in these hotter months. So try that, guys. Good luck to you, and I'll see you on the water.